Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's late night match. I'm Dead Latin here with Jax Taxman. How are you feeling tonight?
Feeling good. Gonna see some action here in Div D West. Should be a fun one tonight with Stranger Pings and the Baddest Dudes.
Yeah, these are two teams that are currently locked in a fight for that last playoff spot, 7th and 8th respectively. So one has a lot of importance as we start this last week of the regular season.
Yep, and we're gonna see here Baddest Dudes won the coin flip, chose to take map pick. They banned Tomb of the Spider Queen, Stranger Pings banned Sky Temple, and Baddest Dudes chose to take us to here to Volskaya Foundry for the first game.
Yeah, it's interesting whenever a team decides to take map pick. That means that either one, they're confident on a select couple maps slash have some pocket strats they might want to bring out. So that's always something to look out for. Whether we see some weird picks, especially here in Div D, where extreme picks run advantage. Even in Div C, as we see a Kale ban, pretty standard first ban in the lower divisions. Where we saw Gazlo in our match earlier today. Thankfully, we were able to defeat the Gaz Lord.
Yep, we do. And now, what's a little interesting is if you look at the match history for each of these teams, you'll see that Baddest Dudes actually have lost twice on Volskaya Foundry in the past, both times they've played it, according to our stats on Hero's profile, while Volskaya Foundry has been played twice by Stranger Pings, and they are 1-1 on it. So a small sample size, but you can see why. Well, you think that Stranger Pings actually has that 1-1 record, and Baddest Dudes with the 0-2 record. It's kind of interesting that Baddest Dudes were actually the one who picked this map here.
Yeah, it tells me maybe they've been practicing this map a lot lately and have come up with something that might break their losing streak on it. As we see a Blaze ban, this very weird ban so far. Rhaegar and Raynor, not your typical bans, and Blaze. Blaze is a little bit stronger as we see a first pick Gul'dan here coming out in order to really put out a lot of damage onto that point.
Well, I'm thinking those are some hardcore target bans because I'm looking at the match history here and I see a whole lot of Raynor from Stranger Pings, and on their aforementioned win on Volskaya Foundry, their comp included both Rhaegar and Raynor. So I'm thinking that's the reason that they banned it out. The Sylvanas and Nubrak, two very strong and very standard heroes here. We see those at all levels of play and in a whole bunch of different kind of comps. And Nubrak, one of the best tanks in the game right now, and Sylvanas is very strong.
Yeah, and Nubrak's ability to just make any fight a 4v5 once he is able to get his Cocoon ult, or get some sustained healing if he decides to go Beetle ult, is very much unmatched. And then we have Cassia Imperius here on the side of Stranger Pings.
Yep, the Cassia coming out with no other blinds yet taken. I'm interested to see if we'll see Baddest Dudes here banning either Lily or Johanna, perhaps, because they both combo so well with the Cassia. As we wait to see what the ban will be, it is the Johanna. So it'd be interesting to see if perhaps the Lily is picked up as the support from the side of Stranger Pings here, or if Baddest Dudes choose to steal it away in their 3-4 slot.
Yeah, I don't know if Lily is strong enough to be deserving of being picked just to be paired with Cassia, so I really like the Johanna ban. So we see Stuka ban come out, leaving two of the strongest healers available for both teams to pick, Ana and Tyrande.
Yep, that's true, and it's true, like you said, Lily maybe not strong enough to pick just for that synergy with Cassia. The blinds are nice, but when you have, as you said, both Ana and Tyrande still on the table, as well as some other quite good heroes like healers like Deckard and Lucio, uh, it'd be interesting to see if they are willing to go all in on that Lily. As we said, Ana's so strong, and the Artanis being picked up by Baddest Dudes, that's another hero you could have considered pairing with the Cassia, although with the Imperius already picked up, probably not the case.
Yeah, something that is a problem with Artanis, though, is you have to be very careful with your swaps when you have an Ana. You don't want to swap someone into your Ana, especially main tank or Imperius, because then that will just result in the death of your Ana, and trading your Ana for one of their frontliners isn't necessarily the best trade.
So Brightwing Garrosh coming out, and then Orphea, our final pick, very quickly. Brightwing does get some good value from her global. It's not the biggest map, but Volskaya is fairly large still in its own right. Orphea I like quite a bit. You see it from the side of Baddest Dudes, this whole team is filled with very standard in the meta heroes except for Artanis, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Whereas from the side of Stranger Pings, Gul'dan, Cassia, not quite as commonly picked assassins. They both have their niches, but not something you see all the time.
Yeah, I think I prefer the draft here for Baddest Dudes. I'm excited to see if they go with the Nano Feast. I love that combo as an Ana player. It's able to do a ton of damage, especially on Volskaya, where the team is pretty much forced to stand on a point if you're able to get into overtime. The thing that concerns me, though, for the side of Baddest Dudes is that Gul'dan on Stranger Pink is going to put out a ton of damage here. So it's up to really a Undertaker on the Nubrek in order to be contesting the backline of Stranger Pinks. But now as we get into game number 1, it will be for the side of Stranger Pinks, Akimbo on the Garrosh, Cadet Legend on the Imperius, Ghost on the Gul'dan, Wesley on the Cassia, and Moosebrow on the Brightwing.
Yeah, and on the red side, for the Baddest Dudes, we've got Cactus Ham on Sylvanas, Savior 123 on Orphea, Rondertaker on Anubarak, Hack Trick on Artanis, and Tutimas on the Ana. Game number 1 on Volskaya Foundry. Here we go.
It'll be a full...
Straight away, all 10 going right to the middle of the map.
Yeah, this should be interesting. Garrosh trying to hunt around, see if he can catch anyone out here from the top bush, but Imperius meanwhile is kind of anchoring the below point section. So both teams tend to just sit back as the minions spawn, and now we'll have Savior stepping up here for the minion wave.
The Anubarak on Rondertaker actually taking a decent bit of damage there at the beginning. He'll be fine for the moment. We do see Baddest Dudes splitting off into lanes faster than Stranger Pings, trying to get that XP advantage. I think that Stranger Pings actually missed a couple minions in the bot lane. They're now sending both Gul'dan and Brightwing down there. With Garrosh soon to come, trying to get the rotational advantage. But meanwhile, Baddest Dudes does have rotational advantage between the top 2 lanes, since so many resources on the side of Stranger Pings were committed to the bot lane. Tunimas thrown though.
Yeah, Tunimas got caught there by Akimbo on his rotation up from bot, but Rondertaker able to dive in and provide some heal for his Ana. So Ana will be able to tap here and go with Sylvanas to the camp. Surprisingly enough, though, Imperius is in this top lane, as opposed to being the solo lane, as Stranger Pings is running a 4-man rotation in between bot and mid, utilizing the conveyor belt in order to quickly rotate despite the larger distance between the 2 lanes.
Yeah, that is quite interesting. You don't often see teams doing that, using the top lane as their solo lane and the bottom 2 as their rotations. It's much more standard to do what Baddest Dudes are doing, leave your 1 man in the bottom lane and rotate between the top 2. I mean, it has its pros and cons. It means that Imperius will be standing right by the support camp, which means a much quicker rotation if they choose to take it. Does mean that the turret camp is further out of the way, though, as it is now being picked up by Stranger Pings, Baddest Dudes having already picked up theirs. Support camp will be taken by Baddest Dudes here, while Stranger Pings are taking their own turret. So Imperius, even though he's right next to it, can't really do anything because his team is not with him. They cannot take that engagement.
As we see actually Hack getting thrown in here by Akimbo. See if he might be able to get away. A lot of damage by Ghost, but Artanis will be able to go away in the spot lane, as the 2 negatives are already appearing from rotating between bot and mid. You see a little bit of minion loss so far, not really that notable, but the big thing to note is the fact that, as you already noted, the Baddest Dudes was able to rotate and take the support camp, while Stranger Pings was forced to rotate bot to catch that wave.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if you think that the advantage of having Imperius in the top lane is that he's closer to any action that occurs, that that advantage was completely negated by the fact that the rest of his team wasn't there. And so really just not taking advantage of any benefit they could get from having him here means I'm not entirely sure why they did it. And as this engagement starts to break out on the mid point, the camp being only picked up by Baddest Dudez, they will have the wave clear pressure advantage in the top lane.
Yeah, Kimbo able to hit his groundbreaker on the hack trick, but not willing to step up enough in order to throw him. So now we have both teams just willing to sit and poke on the point. Xavier doing a lot of the poke damage for the side of Baddest Dudez. So we see a swap opportunity, but Hack doesn't take it. Wesley now deciding to break the stalemate, go in as Hack goes in and gets thrown immediately. Will end up getting bursted down and killed there by Cadet Legend, and that will just force Baddest Dudez to have to back up.
Yep, like you said, they're going to have to back up. They've lost a member, so the point control going over to Stranger Pings first. We see Ana, 2D Maz, Cadet Legend both going top. Oh, Nubrak actually dove in while I was not looking.
Yeah, the Baddest Dudez just needs to respect Akimbo on this Garrosh more. Nubrak was just sitting there poking a little bit, but when you have a Garrosh, you're able to just throw in that Nubrak and throw him and get the burst down to kill him before he's even able to burrow out.
Well, that was, like you said, you got to respect the Garrosh there. Very strong pick. I hope you had the camera on it, because I certainly missed it, but it's a big mistake the side of Rondertaker, and they're going to have to engage pretty soon. They do pick up the turret, but Baddest Dudez are going to have to stand on the point. It's about to go to overtime, and also the emitter going over to Stranger Pinks might be a
nice swap, though, onto Ghost by Hack Trick, though, forcing for Garrosh to have to throw him out, but he himself will end up going down, and along with Brightwing, so that will be a 2-for-0 trade going the side of Baddest Dudez now.
And you actually see the emitter swapping sides again. Now Ana, 2D Maz holding it. So that emitter still has not been used. It's swapped sides twice now, initially being picked up by Baddest Dudez, going over to Stranger Pings, and then going back to Baddest Dudez before anyone had the chance to use it. And now it looks like Baddest Dudez will look to invade Stranger Pings' turret camp. Akimbo on that Garrosh going down to sniff it out, but I don't know if he has enough damage to do this on his own. Like he will just have to back out. The turret will be stolen away.
However, Ghost here very aggressively positioned, but not able to be caught out here with the tanks on that turret camp. But now the percentage is ticking up here, forcing for Stranger Pings to have to go in here in the next 10 seconds. Akimbo will look like be the one to touch here, looking to maybe get the throw on the Rondertaker decides against it. Instead goes for Cactus Ham, who immediately gets polyed and killed, but not at the price of Mouse Pro getting thrown in. Eventually he gets thrown out by Akimbo, as now Hack Trick forced to be the take a lot of this damage. Support camp able to do a lot of work here, but now it's Cadet Legend taking a lot of damage. Ghost getting thrown in as well, but Cadet not able to live through the burst damage of Stranger Pings, as now it's an all-out brawl. Ghost being forced to back up. A nice groundbreaker by Akimbo, able to do a nice stun onto 3 members, as Rondertaker will barely able to get out there. But now Xavier looking to see if he can maybe step onto this point. 2D Moss actually being the one to decide to step on, just dying for it, and the Protector will go over to the side of Stranger Pings.
Yeah, and I know this is an Overwatch map, but that really looked more like Overwatch than Here's the Storm right there, with Ana just giving her life to throw herself onto the point to try to force a little bit more overtime, but not able to convert. So that first Protector going over to Stranger Pings, looking for Cactus Ham, will not find him. That was dangerous, especially with that laser on the ground. But it does give a big advantage over to Stranger Pings. They will pick up their level 10 talents here, Heroics, with quite a bit of time remaining before Baddest Dudez will pick up their own, and this fort will go down. Not sure if they have enough time to take that fountain in the top lane, but it looks like they'll go for it. They'll at least get some damage out onto the wall. We see Warlord's Challenge, of course, the taunt coming out from Garrosh, Imperius taking his angelic armaments, the Emerald Wind from Brightwing, the Fear from Gul'dan, and the Lightning Ball from Cassia. They do manage to get that fountain, and they force a lot of damage out onto Rondertaker, who will have to back up. Cactus Ham also sitting at about half health. Protector is going to expire on time, not on health, but they looks like they will actually get this top fort. Bolts being picked up from both sides. The Eye of Horus looking to finish off Akimbo. Feast dropping down. That's a lot of resources committed. They won't find any kills at the moment, but Taker's in danger.
Yeah, Taker got thrown after the burrow. Goes down. Moose Pro, though, very low, has to be forced to go out. But Cactus Horn being feared into the enemy team will also go down, too. Cactus Legend trying to catch out 2D Moss, but doesn't have the minions to back him up, so he will be forced to back up. But that will be a 2-for-0 trade, and as well as finishing off the fort for Stranger Pings.
Yeah, so ult's being picked up right just in time to fight back by Baddest Dudez, but the fight does not go in their favor, losing 2-for-0, and now the support camp being picked up by Stranger Pings, and they will hold on to that full level experience lead. Imperius going down, looking at his turret, choosing not to take it at the moment, just going to go ahead and clear that wave. The remaining members of Stranger Pings just going to go ahead and take their top camp, while Baddest Dudez pick up their own turret. Hacktrick going back down to that bot lane to hang out with Cadet Legend. And we'll see what happens next. Looks like Baddest Dudez are contemplating their siege camp to respond to the siege camp just picked up by Stranger Pings. Won't go for it at the moment. Stranger Pings will now head down and take their own turret camp. Good time to do so. Baddest Dudez heading over to their siege as a response of their own. That bot lane very far pushed out for Stranger Pings. Hacktrick just going to sit back his wall and clear it. It looks like Akimbo is stepping up. I don't know if they're looking to engage or not. Maybe, maybe not. Looks like they're leaving the 4-man down there and sending Imperius to the mid lane. It'll be interesting to see if they try to take any engagements, because they see all of those members of Baddest Dudez in the top lane.
Yeah, Stranger Pings really pushing down the spot for us, and it might warrant a response here by the side of Baddest Dudez, as they will be rotating down here after taking that siege camp finally by holding. Ana was holding it for a while, but after taking the gate, Stranger Pings just content to back up with their free siege damage.
Yep, Akimbo actually looking for a throw here. Doesn't find any for free, does manage to avoid Taker's Q. Now they will just rotate up, maybe see if they can catch somebody out here. There's only 3 members of Baddest Dudez in the mid lane. Cactus Ham needs to be careful, so does Tudimas. Avoiding that stun from Garrosh means he should be safe for now. That was a little bit of a scary situation there.
Yeah, it's interesting that Stranger Pings is rotating as 5 here, really looking out to see if they can catch any members of Baddest Dudez. Good job on their side not getting caught out by Akimbo's Garrosh, because that could really snowball this game out of control. Instead, they're forced to just really try to soak until 13 before they're able to go in on this next control point.
Yep, and we do see this next control point coming online. Both teams should be at level 13 by the time it's up. Just a inch away from picking that up for Baddest Dudez. They will have it for this point. The item advantage in favor of Stranger Pings with an emitter and a turret compared to the just a turret of Baddest Dudez, but if they find a good engage, Baddest Dudez can't look for a fight here. They are on even talent tiers, although they are still a level behind, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, Akimbo looking to see if he can catch anyone out. 2D Moss sleeping Akimbo here, who will get cocooned, so now here comes Baddest Dudez, gets the knock up onto Moosebrow, but instead the attention turns on to Cadet Legend, as Hacktrick trying to do a lot of damage. A nice ult there by Sylvanas to silence everyone. A huge taunt there by Garrosh there as Akimbo looking to see if he can finish anyone off, but he's the one who's actually going low there. Will be able to barely escape, but Sylvanas will be able to go down. Cadet Legend getting very low himself, will not go down. Hacktrick with the poison damage will be healed up by 2D, but now Akimbo's healed up looking for more. Gets the throw onto Anubrak, who will end up going down, as that will be the 2-for-0 win yet again by Stranger Pings.
Yeah, and that was crazy. Like, Cadet Legend just managed to escape with his life there on the Imperius. You saw the Anubrak burrow charge going in, stopped just shy of getting the knockup, and the knockup probably would have ended his life, but Will managed to escape, and now that experience lead is starting to snowball out of control. It's almost 2 full levels at this point, and a replacement support camp for the one that was burned in that fight will be picked up by Stranger Pings. So now Stranger Pings holding on to about a level and a half of experience. Baddest Dudez managing to catch up a little bit in the meantime, but they're picking up the second protector, and this will go directly onto keep, and if Baddest Dudez aren't careful, they might have a chance to look for core, but we'll have to see. It would probably take more than just one pick to do so, but it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, it's going to be key to see when 16's pick up here as Feast goes down, gets about 1 chomp onto the protector, and then that's it. Hacktrick looking for a swap. That'd be crucial, as both tanks are in this protector for Stranger Pings, but not able to find anyone, as the wall is now down on the side of Baddest Dudez, with Stranger Pings looking for this keep. So far, they keep taking a lot of damage. Both teams just peeking out. A nice root there on a Hacktrick. on the swap as the fear actually ends up sending the members away. They're not able to confirm this keep as a nice arrow going out, able to silence 4 members, but there's not engage on the side of Baddest Dude, even with the cocoon popped as well. Moosebra going to be able to get out and heal up Akimbo with the teleport, and then the Ana ult with used mostly for damages. In the end, no one getting killed.
Wow, I gotta say, I'm quite impressed by that defense by Baddest Dudes there. I thought for sure they were gonna lose that keep, but they lost maybe a third of the health on it, if that. I mean, very, very well defended, preventing Stranger Pinks from getting much value. It didn't hurt that 16 was only picked up partway through the fight. Stranger Pinks able to pick up this turret camp. Hacktrick going very aggressive there, will not swap, and that is a good idea. He would have died almost certainly had he gone for the swap.
Akimbo could have gotten the throw there. That's the thing that you have to be careful as Artanis is when you're in the swap animation, you're still at the apex. Well, pretty much throughout it, you're suspect to being thrown and comboed by a Garrosh. So if Akimbo could have thrown him on time, he would have been able to surely get the kill onto Artanis. But instead, they're going to be pushing down into the spot lane.
Yep, you do see Cadet Legend and Wesley peeling off. Looks like they're going to try to take their own siege camp. They will not be here for this push at the moment, which means Baddest Dudes actually might be able to look to engage, although they do have 2 sitting in the mid lane as well. With Cassia now rotating down, it'll be a 4v3 in favor of Stranger Pings, at least until Sylvanas gets here. Sylvanas almost getting caught out by the Garrosh, will not be found, so it will be okay, but they now have all 5 members closely grouped up and 16 coming in for Baddest Dudes, so they can look to engage if they want to. They're back on even talent tiers. They're still level and a half down. They definitely want to look for a fight before 20, but that's far enough away that they will have a couple chances to engage if they want. Just sit back, take out some of this wave pressure that's pushing in the mid lane and soon to be in the top lane, and then look for the fight once the next objective is online. But they do have to be careful because they are falling behind, and now Stranger Things looking to pick up the support camp. Take the engage there if they get there in time, but Ana and Artanis are not here.
They do force for Brightwing to pop her ult though, just as assurance to make sure that Baddest Dudes doesn't engage. But that will be a large item advantage going on the side of Stranger Pinks for this upcoming objective.
Yeah, like you said, a huge item advantage. 2 turrets and an emitter compared to 0 items on the side of Baddest Dudes. Stranger Pings has a very nice lead here, both in experience and items. Watch out, there might be an engagement here. Akimbo finds a flip.
Yeah, and with the taunt as well and the polymorph, Ronder will barely be able to get away. Nice heals by Tootie to keep him alive. As right now, Baddest Dudes are going to have a little bit of advantage here with Brightwing ult just coming online and taunt just being used without a kill. If there is an opportunity for them to come in along with them just taking 16, it is right now.
Yeah, Ronder actually just tapping, doesn't need to pull back. He's pretty much at full health now after the Ana heals, and said this is probably their best time to engage. They know taunt is behind for a few seconds. Doesn't look like they're actually taking the engage yet, but probably they should. This is probably the best fight they'll get for a while.
Hack not able to get the swap here. A damage going on to Akimbo, but Brightwing Teleport's going to be able to go in. Feast able to get 2 procs there, and Akimbo's going very low. Will end up going down even with the taunt, as Cassia is cocooned. Will end up coming out. Cadet looking to do some damage. Hack not able to hit the swap onto Moosebrow. Ronder really deep, trying to get some damage onto Moosebrow or Wesley, but it's Cadet who's taking a lot of damage. Brightwing stunned out of her teleport, so she will end up going down, as that is a 2-for-0 trade in the favor of Baddest Dudes.
Yep, and Baddest Dudes forced both the emitter and one of the turrets to be used. Looks like Stranger Pings are going to back up onto their own turret, although Baddest Dudes might actually look to contest here. The item advantage is getting very even now.
Yeah, Cadet Legend goes on to Cactus Ham, but he himself goes very low, ends up going down, and now it's Gul'dan on the run from Hack. Will end up getting him, so already, and they force at least the turret was dropped there, but still, yet another item being picked up by Baddest Dudes. Something to look out for though is this camp is pushing in this top lane and will be forcing Artanis to back in order to deal with it.
Yep, so, but the good news for Baddest Dudes is that even though Artanis is clearing it, it will not be a numbers advantage for Stranger Pings because there's still 30 more seconds until Gul'dan and Imperius get back up. Finding those 2 picks at the turret camp was crucial because now they have a 2-for-0 item advantage and this Protector, and they're evening it up in experience. They're both teams are now level 19. It's about a 2/3 of a level lead from the side of Stranger Pings, but Baddest Dudes could absolutely close that gap with a good push here with this Protector. They leave Artanis in the top lane also, so he is getting that soak and eliminating some of that pressure from those waves that are pushing in. So now that Imperius and Gul'dan are both getting back up, by the time they get to this Protector, they might have 20, so they might look to engage, so you do have to play it safe with the Protector, but as long as you don't lose anybody during this Protector push, you get a little more good push, you could start evening it up at 20 and look for one good fight that can start to turn the game in your favor if you're Baddest Dudes here.
Yeah, Baddest Dudes just hanging back, but now that they have Hack, they're going to look to go in. Kimball's taking a lot of aggressive, but Wesley's the one who ends up getting swapped there. Hack gets thrown and taunted and polyed, and he will be the one who ends up going down. Wesley getting a lot of shields, but will get thrown out there. Shout out to the Imperius self for being able to save it, but he might not be out of the woodwork left. Ends up going down to the Protector. Cadet doing a lot of damage to Cactus Ham, but now the Protector's back in order to peel for him. This Protector is so low, they're going to have to start backing up, even though they've only gotten the gate. Actually ends up going in, looking to get some damage on a Cadet and Akimbo, but they're so tanky they can't really do enough damage with the Protector to get them down. Oh, a nice spear there by Cadet onto Tootie, right as he's copping out of the Protector. A fear goes out onto Grinder along with ult by Brightwing. Cactus very low, ended up teleporting in, surprisingly, but we'll be able to get out.
Wow, and a very impressive escape. It was a great job by Stranger Pings, really forcing the issue on Baddest Dudes, almost finding those picks. Sylvanas hanging on by the skin of her chinny chin chin with the heals from Tudimas saving her life. And now, even up at 20, Artanis is back online. Cassie will be up in just 10 seconds, but they'll actually look to take the support camp here. Baddest Dudes will, which is, I mean, it's a smart call because it works. Stranger Ping's not here to contest. That will give them a big item advantage of having that support camp. And now it's even members, even levels. So this game really could swing either way. It is an advantage for Stranger Pings. They do have a big structural advantage on the map. But as Baddest Dudes, it looks like they're going to go ahead and take their fortification camp here in a second after both teams have cleared their siege camps. Tudimas holding the siege camp from the side of Baddest Dudes. But this will be the second turret for Baddest Dudes, and they hold an emitter, while only one turret being held by Stranger Pings. Stranger Pings having quite a nice wave and structure advantage here, but with the experience being essentially even up, both teams being up with all of their ults online, the next big fight really probably will determine who wins this game unless one team can manage a miracle defense, and Stranger Pings would really be the only team that has even a chance to do that with 2 keeps being already down from Baddest Dudes.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial for the Baddest Dudes to win this next objective, or else they're going to face a really late Protector. The only way they'd really be able to force a win out here is, as we do see Undertaker, he's going to go right into the party bus, gets thrown and poly taunted, and he will end up going down. As it looks like they try to save him with the arrow late by Cactus, but does not do enough, as it will be a nice 50-second advantage now for Stranger Pings.
Yeah, if I'm Stranger Pings, I think I'm going to rotate down to the bot lane, probably look to secure that fort. Oh, they're going to step up here. I don't know that they can take core with only a one-man advantage here, but that looks like they might actually look to do just that. They do have both a turret and an emitter now that they stole that emitter. But all 3 turrets and the emitter being dropped, so no items left for either team.
Yeah, Kimbo's looking for a throw, ends up getting the taunt here onto Hacky Trick, but he will end up surviving through it. It ends up being Cadet who ends up going down here. Hacky Trick still surviving somehow as the Ana heals, and you are right. One-man advantage, not enough in order to go for the core call here. So now it will be a nice advantage here for Baddest Dudes in order to start getting an advantage onto this point.
Yeah, and that's really scary if you're Stranger Pings. That call may come back to haunt you depending on how this goes. You only got 11% on that core, and now there's a 5v4 advantage for Baddest Dudes, and they'll have the ult advantage here. gonna go in on that point. Stranger Ping's able to pick up 20% just right off the bat. Actually, looks like it'll end up being more like 25. They do find the swap into Akimbo. He's in danger.
Yeah, Ronder looking for a nice savior. Ends up getting the fishy blow. No, he's still surviving even with the taunt too. Akimbo will not end up going down. Ghost doing a lot of damage here. Will end up forcing Ronder to back up a little bit and not engage any further. As a nice save there by Stranger Pings to make sure Akimbo didn't pay for him standing on the point.
Yeah, and it's a really nice save, and you now get Imperius back online, so 5v5. And you also forced him to blow a couple ults, but that was really scary for Garrosh. I'm kind of surprised he didn't actually fall back. He'll just take what he's getting from regen, and looks like they're going to go back in on the point, so really that core call may not end up being too dangerous for them because they can look to re-engage right here.
Actrix in a lot of trouble. He kind of got caught in this area here, and Akimbo just body blocked him in. As the members of Stranger Pink saw, Sylvanas had to back in order to clear the core. And then it was only Hack on the point. Akimbo able to find him out, as now it's a 50-second advantage for Stranger Pinks. But their Baddest Dudez is going in. They are able to find Akimbo as Feast doing a lot of damage, but not before Nubrak ends up going down. As now it's Cadet Legend taking a lot of damage here from Cactus and Savior. Wesley has to be careful as well, but not able to burn anyone down. Savior takes a lot of damage from that Imperius ult, but now it's 93%. Will Baddest Dudez decide to go in this time and throw themselves at the point? No, they won't, and will decide to try to defend down one member.
This is really scary because even though Garrosh is still down for Stranger Pings, they have that Protector and the Cassia Brightwing. And with these waves have already pushed way out in the top and mid lane, so with the core down, you have to try to make a defense like on core against, with only 3 members, well now 4 with Artanis up, but without your Nubrak, and that Cocoon would have been so nice here. I don't know that they can do it. I think this will probably be game going to Stranger Pings.
Yeah, Stranger Pings though is looking for it. They're trying to burn down this Protector, but the core is going down 10%, 5, and that will be enough. Stranger Pings will take game number 1.
Yeah, and so just not enough left alive in order to take down that Protector there at the end. And it's really, honestly, quite impressive that Stranger Pings was able to come away with that win. They had that call to go for the core a little while earlier where they only got the 11%, and I thought for sure that would come back to haunt them with that disadvantage for like a full minute almost against Baddest Dudez, but Baddest Dudez could not quite make enough out of that. Stranger Pings takes it back and wins the game.
Yeah, we saw Gul'dan was the primary damage dealer on the side, with Ghost doing almost 80k damage. Was able to really burn down, but I think the key player was Akimbo getting those throws in, along with the Polymorph for Brightwing was more than enough to burn down even Rondertaker on the Nubrak in a lot of these fights, to allow for them to kind of just take a nice early advantage, winning that first point, and kind of snowball it throughout the wind. It was scary when Baddest Dudez was able to take that third point and do a lot of push, but it just wasn't enough as they were already so far behind.
Yep, it was a well-played game by both teams, quite close the whole way through. But we do see Stranger Pings walking away on top. It'll be interesting to see whether Baddest Dudez chooses to go with the first pick or with another map pick here after that went on the first game. And I don't know. I mean, from what we saw there, it was really very close by both teams. I thought it could have gone either way. So I don't know what you pick here if you're Baddest Dudez. I think you could, I mean, if you think that you'll play that strong on any map, then just go ahead and take the first pick so you can get the stronger draft. But if you have another pocket strat that you think might actually be enough to steal it away in game number 2, then I think you take map pick. But I don't know. What do you think? You think they've got anything in their back pocket they've been saving for this?
I think they take first, or I don't know. Well, the thing is as you noted, they were 0-2 and now 0-3 on Volskaya, and yet they decided to go to Volskaya. So if you're going to pick one of your weaker maps anyways, like, I don't know if this was the plan all along, if this was kind of like their pocket strategy was Ana Sylvanas, Orphe, Artanis, and Nubrak. This is just an all-around good comp. The only questionable pick really being Artanis. So I think you just take first pick, honestly. Take your meta and see if your meta team comp can win on another map.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. No word yet. We'll let you know once we do know. But okay, looks like we actually have Baddest Dudez taking map pick, and they are taking us to Alterac Pass. So this will be an interesting one to see what they come up with here. It's a fairly big map, I suppose. Well, Sky is also fairly big, but even larger, and there are multiple ways you can play this map. You can either stall out the objective, you can go straight for the objective. It'll be interesting to see what these teams try to do here.
Yeah, one thing that might get some good use is Sylvanas being able to push with those mercenaries. I mean, the combined health and strength of the middle merc camp here, not only is it up on every, I believe, 2 minutes, but at the same time with Sylvanas' ability to buff up mercenary camps, it's more powerful than the bosses even on the map. So being able to utilize that along with Sylvanas' trait can provide a lot of push even without the objective.
Yep. So we wait for the teams to join. It's Yeah, I mean, like you said, you could pretty much just pluck that draft from Baddest Dudez in the last game and plop it onto this map, and it would still be good. You might want to swap the Artanis out for something, maybe Dahaka. He's very strong on this map, or any of the other current meta solo laners really could do the trick. So we'll have to see what they come up with.
And I bet Baddest Dudez, I don't bet, they need to ban Garrosh. Kimbo was just able to positionally zone them out or punish them severely on that Garrosh. So it's something that I believe might be enough, potentially, if they believe in that comp again, to maybe that's just the difference, is if Kimbo's not on that Garrosh, maybe the game goes another way.
Yep. Yep. I mean, we saw, like, when we saw right at the end, when Baddest Dudez were taking their turret camp, and we saw the Artanis sitting at the edge, then all of a sudden Garrosh picked him up and threw him in, and he was gone. And there was a time where Nubrak went around to check the bush near the support camp, and he just got taken out in an instant. So yeah, I agree with you. The Garrosh was really wreaking havoc on their backline. So as we head into this draft for game number 2, I think Garrosh would be somebody you'd look to ban because it had too much of an impact in that first game.
We'll get right into this draft, though. It should be interesting to see, because we did have some off-meta bans on both sides. I mean, Kael'thas is kind of a meta ban in Division D, but not the strongest available bans, I believe. So maybe we get back to that. Nope, Kael is banned yet again by Stranger Pings.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of reasons that you would consider a Kael ban. I mean, like you said, at the lower divisions, it's often stronger than it is at the higher divisions, but it's possible that some member of Baddest Dudez has a huge comfort pick on Kael'thas, loves to play him, and is super good on him. I have just taken a look at Hero's profile, and they have one game played on Kael'thas, and they lost it, so I'm going to go ahead and revoke those words. As we see Gul'dan being banned here by Baddest Dudez, and I don't necessarily know why they're banning Kael'thas.
Yeah, but Gul'dan was able to do a ton of damage last game, so that is a lot more understandable of a ban, especially on Alterac Pass, which has some narrow corridors in between the camps. Gul'dan can put out a ton of damage. Meanwhile, for the second ban here for Stranger Pings, again, another toss-up here, as you know, they're Kael banned out of these. Nope, they just don't want to deal with Blaze again, also.
Well, Baddest Dudez actually have 6 games played on Blaze. It's their most played hero so far this season. They've only won one of those games, but you can't win them all, and they clearly do enjoy playing Blaze, so might as well just take that comfort pick away. So that pick, a little more understandable from Stranger Pings, I would say, to knock the comfort hero away. Rhaegar being banned here again from Baddest Dudez, really interesting. Like we've said, I really would have liked to see a Garrosh ban Because I fully expect that Stranger Pings will pick it up here unless it gets stolen away by Baddest Dudes, because I don't know that they'll pick it first.
Yeah,
But I guess we'll just have
if
to
I'm
see.
Stranger Pings, I immediately just lock Kimbo onto that Garrosh. He was able to control it. Nope, they actually end up stealing the Sylvanas, so a nice map pickup here, and to take it away from Baddest Dudes. And now we see maybe if they weren't banning Garrosh because they themselves want to take that risk. But Sylvanas is I really like as a pickup. Johanna Jaina, very good at being able to clear waves, so we will have a much better clear priority for Baddest Dudes this match.
Yeah, and Johanna Jaina very strong, but I've gotta wonder that if you didn't ban Garrosh but then they didn't pick him first. They wanted that Sylvanas higher priority, but then you just let him through again, and Nubrak being picked up by Akimbo, so we won't see Garrosh coming back out. But we will see the Anub now being on the side of Stranger Pings. Very interesting decision.
Yeah, well, Nubrak is a very strong main tank. He's going to be looking to get onto the backline of Jaina. What I'm thinking is that Kimbo might not have been thinking he could get some throws onto it, as a lot of his throw targets were the Anubrak, but Johanna can easily, with her Iron Skin, just get out along with her higher max health pool. So not really able to punish that as much, so decide to go a different perspective and go for more of a dive comp.
Yep. Nubrak, very strong dive tank. He alongside Diablo. We have not seen yet this series are two of the best tanks in general in the game, but especially for dive. We see the Brightwing and the Ana being banned out. So each team says, hey, that healer you played last game, I hated it. Get it out of here. Stop. It does mean we see Stukov being left open. He's quite good on this map, as he can pretty much infinitely stall out the map objectives if he gets on the right side. The Raynor, Zeratul, two very strong heroes. I've got to wonder, though, who's your solo laner? I assume it has to be Zeratul, because he's the only one that really plays that role traditionally, but you do see Hack Trick, their Artanis from last game, playing the Raynor. It'd be interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be awkward. You have to stick... It's hard to do 4-man rotations on this map because there's... Unlike on our last map, we don't have the conveyor belts to assist with it, as Kerosene Imperius will mean it's all in on the dive on the side of Stranger Pings. But it's going to be hard for Baddest Dudes to be able to catch the soak in all these 3 lanes.
Yep, I totally agree with you, because here they have to pick up a healer, and you're not going to want to send your healer to the solo lane. So even if you Zeratul off to one lane, who do you send to the other? I mean, I guess it's Raynor, but really I don't know. I mean, it could be. I do see an Uther coming out as a support. Quite interesting. We don't see him all that often. Still does have his place in the meta. I really like what Stranger Pings are doing here. They've fully committed to this dive. We're gonna go in and we're gonna try to blow you up, and if it doesn't work, well, that's okay, because we did what we were gonna do, and if we didn't do it, we were gonna lose anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how Baddest Dudes responds to this. Although Johanna is quite strong and does have that circular CC to bring people in from all angles, they have a lot of squishier targets in the back line, so it'll be interesting to see if the dive can take them out.
Yeah, I also prefer the draft to Stranger Pings, so they have a lot of strong dive, even though Uther is going to be able to shut down that initial dive burst damage, and maybe even if Divine Shield completely save one target. I think there's just too much damage here on the side of Stranger Pings. Once they get that first kill, it will be pretty punishing. But now as we get into game number 2, on the side of Stranger Pings, looking to close out with the domination, it will be Cadet Legend on the Imperius, Akimbo on the Nubrak, Ghost on the Li Ming, Wesley on the Sylvanas, and Moosebrow on the Kerosene.
Yep, and playing in red for Baddest Dudes, we've got Hack Trick on the Raynor, Savior, the Jaina, Rondertaker playing Johanna, 2D Moss playing Uther, and Cactus Ham on the Zeratul, looking to take us to a game 3 situation if they win. Here we go on game number 2, Alterac Pass. We see everybody starting mid again this game, gonna have a big party.
Yeah, but to be looking at it is how Baddest Dudes decides to split. If it's Jaina in the lane, you're going to struggle to clear when eventually Stranger Pings is able to take Mercs. So I'd like to see, as you said, Raynor and Zeratul have to split out, but Raynor's not the best at solo laning here. So it should be interesting to see how those perform in the early laning phases.
Yep, we do see Raynor going top and Zeratul going bot, with now Imperius following to the top and nobody yet going bot. I assume it will be Li Ming. We do see Sylvanas actually heading top to help Imperius against Raynor, which will be an interesting thing to see. As you noted, Raynor not the best in the solo lane. Part of that comes down to how susceptible he is to a gank. We now see Jaina in the top lane. Looking like she's relieving Raynor of his duties as Raynor goes to the siege camp. So interesting. We do see a 3-man in the bot lane for Stranger Pings, meaning that right now in the mid lane it's dominated by Baddest Dudez, with Imperius actually solo laning mid and Sylvanas top. Really, it's just a whole lot of interesting rotations all around.
Yeah, as you do see 2D finally peeling off to heal up Hacktrick, as Raynor not able to take this camp on his own. And so we do see yet again the 4-man rotation by Stranger Pings as they do collapse or finally go to their siege camp, but not with Sylvanas, interesting enough. Interesting to see if she does end up rotating mid in order to help with that push.
We actually see the Sylvanas versus Jaina in the top lane as the current solo lane matchup. Not exactly your traditional solo lane matchup. Now Raynor going back to take over his duties in the top lane again. Savior 1-2-3 with that Jaina rotating down to the mid lane. Uther having to back for mana, I assume. And so, yeah, Raynor a little susceptible to gank since he's an assassin, does have that softer health pool. But also now against Sylvanas, who kind of has that same issue, a little softer, and it'll just be two assassins trading into each other up top, while we do see the Anubarak actually solo laning in the bot lane, meaning the Imperius is left to tank in the mid lane for Stranger Pings. Not exactly what you want here. Cadet Legend actually taking a lot of damage, going to be forced to back up a little bit, as the Johanna Jaina does a great job of wave clearing, like you said, but now that the wave was at the gate, Stranger Pings able to clear it, and their camp can start to push out.
And Kimbo trying to dive on the Savior, but not really having the follow-up damage to follow. Cadet Legend puts some pressure on the Undertaker, but just a huge health pool in order to work with. So they do end up clearing that wave, but their camp does not really have enough health to push that much, as both camps being traded out without much damage being done. And so far, not much of a XP advantage for either side.
Yep, Cactus Ham actually was looking to rotate to the camp through that middle mud pool, and then almost got caught out by Akimbo, and Moosebrow rotating down to the bottom lane for wave clear. Had to real quick change directions to make sure he would not just get exploded by that Anubarak. And now both teams are posturing at their camps. Cactus Ham in the mid lane. Looks like the Stranger Pings are trying to set up for a Bush King. It's not going to find anything, so Akimbo's going to start to step up. Looks like they're looking to engage first here. Yeah,
especially if Zeratul top, it's going to be easy take for them. As they do start the progress on this cavalry camp. Undertaker actually looking to go in there. A lot of damage being done by Hacky Trick, but without their Zeratul here, they can't engage yet. Now Cactus Sam looking to see if he can go in on this backside. Undertaker just taking some damage here. Happy to take that versus his backline. Savior going in, doing some damage to Kimbo, who ends up getting stunned, but the heals come out from Moosebrock. Cadet Legend coming on his backside, putting some pressure on the Hacky Trick, but he can't finish off the kill himself. Cactus Sam is able to rechannel that objective, and Kimbo being very low will force Strange Pings to have to back out.
Yeah, what was really nice is that Tudimas on that Uther was trying to use W, his Beam of Light, to actually stun the channel as it was starting. Hold on a minute, Cactus Ham and get out. But Akimbo actually got the knock-up onto the Uther earlier with his Q for that stun, which was what allowed them to be able to channel, and now they have a huge advantage.
Akimbo looking to engage here. The member's very low on the side of Baddest Dudez, but the Uther heal's coming out. A nice knock-up there, able to hit 3 as Tudimas will end up going down, but not with a price paid with Akimbo going down, but the objective is taken for Stranger Pings.
Yep, so they just did a nice job just staying on the aggressive, able to make sure they took that camp. Cactus Ham in danger, actually. Blink, so he'll be fine. Gets stunned by that Spear of Cadet Legend, but will make it out. If he was anyone other than Zeratul who didn't have that blink, he probably would have died right there. He was in big danger, will manage to escape. Now the 4-man of Stranger Pings all sieging down the bot lane, and Nubrak has just respawned. He will be heading topside, it looks like, as we see Raynor and in the top lane, Johanna in the mid lane, and the remaining 3 members from Baddest Dudez coming down here. That's a 4v3 and cavalry for Stranger Pings. I think they just get the support. There's not a whole lot Baddest Dudez can do. They're just going to have to sit back, wait for it to happen, then clear the cavalry. Looks like Moosebrow is actually going in. I wonder if they're going to look for the keep wall here instead of rotating mid for that fort. Looks like they'll just continue to push.
Yeah, they're going to continue to push, but with Jaina and Zeratul now here, that's plenty of clear, so this cavalry will go down pretty quickly. Even with Sylvanas trait end up being used, the nice spear onto 2D Moss. He's taking a lot of damage, has to be careful. Will end up going down to Moosebrow. He's able to just easily dash out. And now Cactus Ham taking a lot of damage, but will get out. So this will be, the gate will be taken with that pick by Stranger Pings. No, not enough, as Undertaker rotating in forces out Stranger Pings. Now something to note is that Karazim is Insight build, so will not necessarily have the additional damage that you really like to have on Karazim with the ability to do more damage every third basic attack, but will be able to get heals more up more often and not have to have as many mana problems with the cooldown reduction that his auto attacks will not give.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You don't see a whole lot of Karazims take Insight. Iron Fist, really the very typical build. You don't see a whole lot of deviation from. But you can see why he would want to take it in some circumstances. Getting that mana regen on those cooldowns is very nice. He's getting pretty close to finishing that quest. But those dashes were so nice. That's why you want to pick Karazim, is because he was able to hop behind the wall just to grab that Uther and then hop right back. In the top lane here, we see Cadet Legend actually falling fairly low on the Imperious, and as I said, Karazim now finishing his quest fully. Looks like Baddest Dudez are actually going to look for this top boss. They're going to be picking up 10s here in just a second, and so in response, Stranger Pings are going to go ahead and start the bot boss, but clear should be a lot faster from Baddest Dudez. They have 4 members, just currently 2. Now the third and fourth members arriving from Baddest Dudez in the bot lane, and it'll be a fairly close race, but Baddest Dudez started earlier, so they should be able to finish it a little bit earlier as well.
Yeah, however, Baddest Dudez boss will only be pushing onto this fort in the top lane. Even though the objective is spawning in the top lane, this boss is going to be marching onto the keep with the wall almost down already, so that's going to be some pressure that will be forced to respond to by Baddest Dudez.
Yeah, actually Stranger Pings might really win this trade because it's further away from the camp, so if Baddest Dudez goes to respond, they have to travel further to get back to the objective, and it's CG Keep like you said, so it's pressing to deal with. Baddest Dudez are just going to stick around, do some poke damage, look to engage and take this camp though. For the moment, and that keep wall is certainly going to fall in the bot lane. We'll see how much value the boss gets beyond that.
However, the cavalry camp is starting to take some progress by Baddest Dudez. Here comes the combo here, as it is the Ring of Frost able to catch 3 there, along with the Divine Pump going out to Karazim, able to save Moosebrow for just a second. He will end up going down. Cactus Ham now taking a lot of damage from Imperious. Only Nubrak ended up falling in that combination, but it will be enough as Baddest Dudez will be able to finish off this objective.
Okay, check out that bot keep from Baddest Dudez. It is almost dead and it is now fallen. So the boss value comparison, fort versus keep, Stranger Pings absolutely wins that boss trade. They do lose the objective, and the boss will now clear itself on the core, so not anything to worry about too much beyond that, but Stranger Pings certainly getting the better end of a keep instead of a fort, although they do lose out on the trade at the objective. We'll have to see how much push Baddest Dudez can get here. They really need to get a keep in order to even it up. Yeah,
but here we go. We have Cocoon going out, but easily burned down there by Hacktrick. The Spirit knockup, though, will burn down Cactus Ham. Nice shot by Akimbo there as the chase is on by Stranger Pings. Looking to do a lot of damage, but Baddest Dudez will be able to just retreat and back up to their cavalry and might look to re-engage with it. No, they'll just allow for Stranger Pings to ping it. Actually, 2D Moss getting speared here by Cadet Legend, but he might have gone in a little bit too far as the chase going by Baddest Dudez onto him, even getting the Blessed Shield, I believe, being used. Yes, it was. Ring of Frost not able to catch anyone. Akimbo taking a little bit of damage here, but easily able to get healed up by Moosebrow as Baddest Dudez used a couple resources there, but not able to catch anything on the retreat.
Yeah, that's really, I think, a gross overcommitment by Baddest Dudez. They went too far up. Oh, hold on a minute. Kimbo trying to stay in. He little sneaky poke, trying to catch him out, see if he could do anything, and then just backs off with a arrow charge. But Baddest Dudez, they were sitting too far up, and so Zeratul got cocooned. They got too aggressive before the cavalry. And so it looked like he might be able to escape, but then he couldn't. Even though they burned the cocoon so quickly, the Imperious Spear meant that he just died for it anyway. And so then they really needed to play it safe, but instead they committed a bunch of ults, but it was kind of scattered. They didn't do a whole bunch of damage to any one particular target, just a little bit here and there to everybody. So it meant they couldn't find any kills. They committed multiple ults and were able to come away with nothing except for a lost Zeratul, a little bit of siege damage in mid and bot, but nothing in the top lane where they really wanted to go for that keep to counteract the push that Stranger Pinks got earlier.
Yeah, as now camp's being taken on both sides. Baddest Dudez is looking to see if they could potentially take down and finish off this mid fort. But here comes the cocoon onto Zeratul yet again. Kimbo looking to get the spear by Cadet Legend, ends up going down. Ring of Frost being used in combination with the Void Prism doesn't end up catching anyone because of that. But Cactus Ham and Tootie very low, forcing to back up. Moose Sprout going very low, but is able to use Palm on himself, keep himself alive, as both teams now will just back up and clear off these lanes.
Kerosene playing pretty selfish with that Divine Palm. I think I've seen it come out twice, and they've both been to save himself. So I see how it is. I think his teammates are going to start yelling at him. Keeps only saving himself, but not any of them. Got to spread the heals around. Come on. But we do see another overcommitment of ults from the side of Baddest Dudez. You saw that Ring of Frost come down, but then the Void Prison came down too, and it was just poor timing because it meant that the Void Prison actually saved Stranger Pinks from being hit by the Ring of Frost. You'd rather see it the other way around, but the Void Prison forces them to get hit by it. And you saw that the Divine Shield had to be used to save Zeratul after he was cocooned, and now you see Stranger Pinks picking up the objective for Baddest Dudez can even contest. I have to see what goes on here as they are stepping up and looking to engage to take the camp back.
Yeah, Undertaker seeing if he can maybe get an engage on it, when instead Cadet Legend putting a lot of damage on the Cactus Ham, was forced to back up already, and in fact they end up using Blessed Shield only just to peel off Cadet Legend. But he himself is very low. Cactus Ham gets his Uther heals, ends up going in, doing some cleave damage, ends up getting cocooned here now. Akimbo very low, has to be careful here. Cadet Legend uses his ult. Oh, mistimes it there, as along with the Divine Shield that will allow for Cadet Ham, or Cactus Ham to get out, but Cactus Legend's very low. Nubrak with Akimbo already falling down, as now Wesley will able to teleport out successfully, as they are able to get the pick on the side of Baddest Dudez.
Yep, that's the fight you wanted to see from them last time. They were using the Divine Shield to counteract the Cocoon is a perfectly okay trade as long as you get it to work properly. Didn't commit any additional ults, I don't believe, except the Blessed Shield was used early in the fight. And so, but then you did see them finding that pick onto the Anubrak as he was caught out and not losing any members of their own. That is exactly what we needed to see from Baddest Dudez as they try to get right back into this and rechanneling the camp. They are quite a bit down in the subjective timer, but looking to get back into it. The core is taking some damage. It should be fine to heal itself back up, but it is something you're gonna have to keep an eye on. Void Prison being used, and so is Cocoon.
Oh, but they aren't able to time it with a nice Cocoon by Akimbo. Does not allow for them to drop that successfully. So now the pressure is on to Baddest Dudez. Akimbo doing a lot of damage along with that lead being onto Undertaker. So that will allow for them to retake their objective there. A nice heads-up play by Akimbo does not allow for the combination to work out for Baddest Dudez.
Yeah, that was a great job by Akimbo. He cocooned the Zeratul, so Zeratul could not drop the Void Prison. Just had to wait for it to drop naturally. And Jaina didn't expect that throughout the Ring of Frost. Wanted Zeratul to drop it, but Zeratul was unable to since he was sitting in that cocoon. Joanna had to back, will now make it back to the fight. Akimbo just getting blown up.
Yeah, however, a nice black arrow there by Sylvanas, able to silence the Cactus Ham Savior very low, but Jaina ends up being the one to go down. Here comes the resets. That's two by Ghost. Looking for a third. Will not be able to get it. Cadet Legend going deep. Now we find a third. Cactus Ham just backs in the bush. And that will be the next objective being taken by Stranger Pinks.
Yeah, very sneaky bushback by Cactus Ham. He was right next to him. You gotta be a little scared when you're doing that, kind of terrified they might check that bush, find you, you're just dead. He had only 200 health left, but they did not find him, so he is okay. Made it back to base. Trade actually being popped here by Sylvanas on the fort. I might have liked to see her save it for the push on the keep. The cavalry will now get here. If they can take down this keep, if they can find another pick, they might actually be able to look for core. At the moment, all 5 members being back up from Baddest Dudez, even though they're down 16 for the moment, they're about to get it, so they should be able to defend. The core probably will have to lose one key, probably the fort. They do drop wood.
However, it's not able to catch anyone as it just straight up misses. So now the Blessed Shield able to catch a couple members. Cactus Ham going very low from the damage from that Li Ming, but Akimbo getting stunned out will allow for Baddest Dudez in order to peel off and be able to save their mid keep. Now we see that bot camp starting to do some damage to core, but with 2 keeps still up, it has 50 armor, so we'll be able to just tank this objective and heal up afterwards. So that leaves Strange Pings to go up. They will be able to take this mid fort, but I don't believe they'll be able to get that much more damage done with this objective.
Yeah, it was actually a really nice defense by Baddest Dudez. I thought that Stranger Pings would be able to take a keep there. They weren't. It was a good defense by Baddest Dudez. Look, they're just gonna back up, set up, take this top boss, one up. Baddest Dudez, I don't know if they know about this. It looks like they do. They're gonna go ahead and check it. Be interesting to see if Stranger Pings sets up a bush gank. Looks like they're just gonna go ahead and back up for the moment. Although they might actually fight here.
Akimbo burrows in, but just now gets Cocoon up, so not able to really create the engage he wanted, so they're content to just back up, make sure that Baddest Dudez doesn't start this boss, so both teams just kind of playing chicken around boss now.
Yeah, quite interesting. We do see 2 members of Stranger Pings rotating down to the mid lane. Baddest Dudez, they can take it here. Looks like they will keep all 5 members up here and look to buddy Stranger Pings back up a little bit. And now Stranger Pings rotating up to get to group up as 5. It'll be interesting to see if either team does make a play for this boss or if either team tries to make a fight happen here in the mid lane. Looks like Baddest Dudez are just going to go ahead and rotate down, clear out that mid lane. So Stranger Pings might actually be able to take this top boss if they choose to. Looks like they're currently just setting up for a bush gank, maybe to bait it. And since the prison camps are about to be up, I don't think they're going to take it. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Akimbo clearing waves. Looks like the rest of the team will actually go ahead and start this top boss.
However, I believe this is sniffed out by the Baddest Dudez. They're rotating in here, and they do have their combo up, Void Prison and the Ring of Frost. So here we go. Boss getting very low already. Cactus Ham gets a huge Void Prison. Can they get the combination? They are able to catch 2, and that will be enough. Cactus Ham getting the resets onto the cleave with his level 16, but he ends up taking a lot of damage. Forces D-Shield to go up onto him. Gina goes very low, forces Ice Block, but will end up going down along with 2D Boss. Here goes Ghost, gets 2 resets. Looking for Cactus Ham, will end up getting him as well. Now it's Hacktrick who's next on the line of sights, but with the Uther heals from Dead Ghost Uther, he will end up surviving this fight, but still 3 picks and the boss very strong from Stranger Pings.
And so what happened there, which was interesting, is I wanted to do with the Void Prison, whether you'd use it to try to just steal the boss or try to find some kills. He used it to look for kills, dropping it when that Ring of Frost was dropped, but only able to turn into 1 pick on the Anubrak. Li Ming fell very low and was actually saved by Divine Palm. So there you go, Karazim spreading the love, getting Li Ming to live in that fight. And so, since they couldn't find that Li Ming pick, all of a sudden that damage they thought they were going to get rid of was still there. And so they just got shredded of all those resets. Managed to help Li Ming pump out more and more damage. They turned it into a boss, which took the keep wall and a little bit of damage on this keep. And a prison camp, which should be able to secure 1, if not both of these keeps, barring a very impressive defense by Baddest Dudez, which I will say is not completely out of the question.
Here comes Blessed Shield, looking to get 3. Get hit by the Ring of Frost as Kersey will end up going down. Palm save Wesley for the moment, but will end up going down also. However, they're looking to potentially turn this on the side Stranger Pings, but they're already down 2 members. Actrick is very low, but Imperius will end up going down. A Ghost was able to find the pick on the Rainer, but that's just not enough, as it will force for Stranger Pings to go out. But they were able to capture the objective in all of the chaos.
Yeah, they do also pick up level 20's Akimbo in a little bit of danger, but will manage to get out. And so now a 2 situation during this defense. Baddest Dudez having that advantage. They actually should be able to escape with very minimal damage here, clearing that mid wave before it even gets past where the fort used to be. Now they're going to have to rotate top to take up that cavalry and trust that their core can hold its own against this bottom cavalry. Actually, they will send Johanna to deal with the cavalry that is taking core, and Jaina with her. Kind of an interesting play, I suppose, partially to make sure that the backdoor attempt is not made by the members of Stranger Pings, but really, I would have just let the core clear that one. Although they have enough clear in the top lane, there won't be a whole lot of damage done to this top keep, so it will be fine. Just gonna go ahead and finish off that top cavalry and the bot cavalry. Johanna clearing the bot wave, and then the core will heal up. Meanwhile, Stranger Pings taking that bot boss. Kerosene back up and joining the fray, and Kimbo and Ghost, and now Wesley joining them with their Imperious Cadet Legend standing right around the fort, seeing whether it's necessary for him to come in. Just kind of hanging out, decides he will. So now all 5 at the bot boss. Baddest Dudes knows they're taking the boss, but it's too late. They're not going to be able to make it in time. So that boss is capped. They might actually look for a fight here with both teams having 20.
Cactus Sam is looking for that Void Prison. However, it will be Uther and Cactus Sam just instantly blown up. Ring of Frost not able to catch anyone, as now it's Hacktrick who's in trouble. Will end up going down. Just absolutely blowing up the two. Now Uther coming back to life at full health, but already Stranger Pings looking to see if they can get the kill onto him again this fight. The spear by Cadet forcing out for the D shield by Tootie, but he will end up going down. Maybe, yes, he will, as Wesley able to get the last hit. So now here comes the march of the core. Even though 2 keeps are still up, they're going to look for it with 2 members down on the side of Baddest Dudes. However, Xavier looking very low. Cadet Legend not able to get the finish off. However, that will push her off for now. Core already down to half health now. Undertaker trying to do whatever he can in order to peel off Stranger Pings, but it's not enough. Xavier trying to do some damage of her own, but it will be game number 2 and the series going to the side of Stranger Pings.
Yup, and so finding all of those picks down there in the bot lane was all they needed in order to march down on that core, having the boss still fairly healthy with them. Didn't matter if they had 2 keeps of armor on that core. The boss and the full team was enough to burn it down. So 13 kills to 8, but more importantly, 2 games to 0. Stranger Pings will take the series, and that's a big one for them. Going forward into the last weeks of this season, they will stay in 7th place, not able to quite catch up to the 5th place tie, but they will only be 1 point out of that, and it will help them build their lead on Baddest Dudes for that 8th and final playoff spot as we enter the last week of the season here for NGS.
Yeah, and as we look to the stats, we see was Ghost leading the entire game in hero damage, was able to get some nice resets in order to win out some team fights. Meanwhile, Musra was putting out a ton of healing in those fights, especially with some clutch Divine Palms in order to save some team fights on his own. And I think the key thing is that Baddest Dudes just weren't able to completely utilize their comp, especially with their level 10 ultimates. Sometimes that was due to Akimbo had a couple nice cocoons in order to disrupt the combo, but they just weren't really clicking on that Void Prison into Ring of Frost combo, and it ended up costing them quite a few fights.
Yep, exactly. And so that was, I mean, just a very well played series by both teams, really, but especially by the side of Stranger Pings, and that they took that strong domination, the 2-0. Really impressed by the way they held strong throughout both those games. They hung in there even when it looked like Baddest Dudes really had a chance to fight back and steal the map. They held strong and took them both.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just, I really want to highlight the tank play from Akimbo. It was very strong at setting up either game 1 on Garrosh, getting some key picks, on that Garrosh, or it could have been on game 2 with some nice cocoons in order to really help control fights. Meanwhile, Ghost was able to put out a ton of damage in order to kind of follow up with the dive of Akimbo in order to really help get a very convincing win, I'd say, on the side of Stranger Pings.
Yep, it does look like Akimbo, the main tank player for Stranger Pings, will be joining us for an interview. So I think we are ready to head on over and see what he has to say. Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations on your strong 2-0 victory tonight. It was well played by both teams.
Thank you.
Yep,
Yeah, they did a good
so
job. Yeah, I mean, we won, but those were two very close games.
absolutely. Really, there were a lot of moments in both of those games where it was like, oh, this could go either way. It's getting really tight. But you guys hung in there, managed to take them both, and secured some important points in this last week of the season as you fight for the playoff seeding.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, I haven't done the math. I'm hoping this clinches the playoffs for us. And then from here, we're just determining seeding, I guess.
Looks like you guys will be at 14 points with the next highest, or sorry, not 14. You'll be at 9 points with. No, you will be at 14
No, we should
points.
be,
Wait,
yeah,
Stranger
14, I
Pings.
think is right.
You'll be at
Yep,
14 points. Sorry,
yep.
I'm trying to make sure I've got track of which team is which. You'll be at 14 points, sitting in 7th place in the standings, and there are 10 total games, so it looks like 11 points is the maximum that the teams out of the playoffs can get. So this should officially clinch you for the playoffs.
Oh my God. Feels good. Feels good.
Assuming I've done my math right. But
Yeah, yeah,
congratulations.
I'll take your word for it. Thank you.
So now you're just fighting for that 7th spot, but you'll be only 1 point back from the tie for 5th place. What do you
Okay.
think? You think you can do it? Sneak your way up in there to the higher seeds right at the end?
It's possible. I'll have to look at the standings. We have two more matches to play. We got next week's match, and then we don't follow our lead. We waited till the last week to try to get our flex max match scheduled. So, but yeah, so we got two more left, and hopefully, yeah, if we get wins or dominations on those, hopefully we'll move up the ladder quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a good win today. Are you hoping to carry that momentum forward in these last couple matches?
Oh, of course, of course. We've actually had a good run the last few weeks, and so our momentum is strong. Our opponents should watch out.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So let's talk a little specifically about some of our games today. On our first map, we went to Volskaya Foundry, picked by the enemy team, the Baddest Dudes. They took you there, and you guys responded in strongly. You guys had a big lead early on. They tried to take it back towards the end, but you were able to hold on and finish it out. And let me say, your performance on the Garrosh was quite impressive. We were talking about it a lot throughout that game. You were finding some great flips, which were
Thanks.
securing some important kills.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the flip and taunt is huge. I actually played a quick match earlier where Garrosh took Decimate, and I don't fully understand that pick. I mean, especially the taunt was huge against the Anubarak, who has the ability to burrow out of there. So I know we missed a kill on him a couple times, but yeah, no, I appreciate it. We love the isolate a hero and take him out mentality, and it worked really well that match.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting is we saw from the other side, they picked what was, for the most part, a fairly standard comp. A lot of meta heroes you'd usually see Ana, such as the Anubarak, but then we also saw the Artanis, and you guys did a good job of responding to that. Anytime you swapped, you, it seemed like you were still managing to come out alive or at least win the trade. But were you scared when you saw that Artanis come out?
So not initially. Um, I was more scared once I started seeing all the swaps come out. Um, and luckily I took into the fray and was able to throw my allies out of the mix in those situations. So that helped out a lot. But um, otherwise, yeah. I mean, overall, we weren't too worried about the Artanis pick.
Yeah, and so of course on Volskaya, always items play an important role in it. Those turrets and the support camp. And I want to note that there were several times where we saw a bunch of items flip back and forth. For on the first control point, the
Yeah.
other the baddest dudes picked up the support camp, did not use it. You killed them. You stole the support camp from them,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then lost
you
it. Yeah.
died and lost it and gave it back to
Yeah.
them. And there were just
Yeah.
a couple times where items were flipping back and forth. You have anything you want to say about that?
So after that moment when I died and lost the healing item, I told my team, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not picking any of these up. I have 6 buttons I have to press. I don't need a 7th. And so I stayed away from the items there. But I know there was a late game push on core that we made that I swear they threw 2 turrets down, and that saved that push for them.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, items definitely played a huge role in that match.
well, it still worked out for you. It was a good game. And so moving on to game number 2 on Alterac Pass. What I thought was interesting in the draft was that after you just ran rampant over them with your Garrosh, you were throwing them left and right, taunting them, destroying them. I mean, there were some moments where it was just like, man, they can't catch a break. You saw at the support camp, the Anubrak went to check a bush. You had 4 people in the bush, and he just died instantly. Snap of the finger.
Mm.
It's like they let Garrosh through the bans, and you guys did not pick Garrosh, instead opting to go with the Anubrak. And while it did work out for you and the Anubrak looked quite good, I do have to ask, why the Anubrak over the Garrosh after the Garrosh had worked so well in game number?
We like the Anubrak a lot. It allows for a lot of engage. So with the Garrosh, it kind of requires the enemy team to come to you. Where with the Anubrak, you can go to them. We typically like that kind of play style a little more. So it just kind of allowed us to play a little more comfortably in that sense. But I mean, I've just noticed in general overall, Nubarak has been pretty OP. His Beetles are back, and yeah, I think it obviously worked out, but yeah, that's kind of why we went with the Anub over the Garrosh.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, you guys clearly were going for a very dive focused composition there. You could see by the way it was drafted, and it worked out well. I do want to talk about, there was the moment, I believe it was on the second prison camp, where it was right before the second prison camp, where the enemy team was taking the top boss, and so you guys went and took the bot boss,
Hmm.
and it really seemed like they should have been maybe going for the bot boss instead, because your bot boss was then pushing on their keep, where theirs was pushing on your fort,
Right.
and then they had to go respond to it further away from the objective. But then it turned out you guys lost the objective anyway, but you came back from that. I mean, you got any thoughts to share about that whole sequence of events?
Yeah, so I think the objective, I think we lost that because I forget who, but I think somebody died right after they grabbed the boss. I could be wrong. And it was just a 5v4 situation. Oh no, Imperius was trying to clear the boss. The rest of us went to go on the objective. All 5 of them were there, so it was a 5v4. It was just a bad fight on our part. But yeah, the map awareness on our side though really shined when I called the bottom boss there. I knew they were top boss, and with the objective also being top, we taking bottom boss was obviously the right call. It was a stronger call, and I believe it they took down their keep,
Yeah,
which just
it did.
gave us an advantage in that lane the entire rest of the game. So yeah, overall we were really happy with that call,
Yeah,
but
it really
not so
helps.
much the fight on the objective.
Well,
That was a bad call, but all right, it happens.
all right. I'm gonna toss it to Dead and see what questions he's got for you.
Thanks, Jack. So first of all, congrats on your win, as you said,
Thank you.
clinching that crucial playoff position. So in map one, you guys were very effective with your protectors, able to get two forts down with the almost two forts down, able to confirm
Right.
that second one slightly after it expired, and then able to
Mhm.
get I believe half of top keep with the second one. What do you think your team was so effective with the protectors game one?
So we had a lot of siege behind it, with the Gul'dan Cassia. That helped out. And then you just knowing the order of the objectives helps a lot. So you know that the next one's going to be top. So instead of finishing the mid fort and then going bottom, you go top and you get the advantage there. At the very least, we wanted to get that healing fountain because that would have given us a huge advantage going into the second objective. The fact that we were able to get a fort out of it was really nice. That was just a plus there. But yeah, just being able to kind of think ahead a little bit and know where objectives are spawning next, on a map like that where it is going to go mid, top, bottom.
Sounds good. And then a little bit later on in that game, you had a failed core call. So how, as a team, do you kind of regroup after you back up after a failed core attempt?
Man, just keeping spirits up and comms is very important. But I would say one thing that we're pretty decent at is understanding when we've lost a fight, and getting out before too much damage is done. I understand some fights we had tonight may not appear we were following that too much, but it was but yeah, just we had the advantage, we had the structures on our side. The biggest thing there was just making sure that we kept everybody alive, kept everybody healed up, and that we were just ready for the next team fight, which would have probably decided the game.
Well, you guys were able to kind of get in that mindset, as you said, and come back and get the win. So definitely worked out. And then game number two, uh, the enemy team had a very strong Void Prism into Ring of Frost
Oh yeah.
alt combination. So how, as a team, do you kind of prepare yourself to deal with such an alt combo?
Oh man. So God, we weren't ready for that. The first time we saw it, it was yeah, we knew we were gonna struggle with it. Um, just I tried to cocoon um, their tool before he was able to do it, but then Uther was on point with his divine shields, and there were multiple cocoon targets that we couldn't lock down because of that. So props to him. That was insane. But yeah, we just tried to avoid it as much as we could, and but that was a great combo. They landed it multiple times, um, and fortunately they didn't land it a couple times as well, and that helped us out a lot.
Yeah, and then in that second match, one of the highly contested points was the bosses. You guys, obviously, as Jax kind of talked about, traded Alpha Boss the one time, but then later on, you there was a couple times where your team was kind of dancing around boss, and then ended up taking it. How as a team do you kind of prioritize boss on that map?
Man, it's really a case by case decision for us. I mean, and I if we're talking about the same one, they had just cleared our objectives, and the majority of them were top. We had moved top um, to possibly go for boss, but the issue was since I knew at least maybe four of them had just shown top lane, I knew they were going to try to invade. So we tried to just distract them really as much as possible, make them think we were gonna go for the boss, while our bottom lane was just freely pushing because we had gotten that keep earlier from the first boss. And it just turned into a team fight, and yeah, and then we were able to secure it. So it was, yeah, that was a tough call.
Yeah, but you guys were able to eventually get that boss, and then help you turn it into a map to win in the match victory. So my last question is, any shoutouts you'd like to give after your team's victory?
Of course, yeah. So all of our family and friends who are watching live or the YouTube video later, um, shout out to the other team. You guys played great. It was this was a lot of fun. Always shout out to the entire NGS crew. We're having a blast with this whole competition. This is our first time joining anything like this, and we're just happy to be a part of it. And shout out to my girlfriend who's hopefully watching this, but I'm gonna guess she's not. I think she turned it off. But that's it.
Yeah.
Shout out to you guys. Thanks for casting too.
Thanks for allowing us to cast this fantastic game, and good luck to you guys in your last couple matches and into the playoffs.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.
Well, that will do it for tonight, Jax. Another great match in the books tonight, as I believe we've hit actually every division now except for Heroic Div.
Yep, we've done A, B, C, D. Wait, A, B, C, D. Yeah, I know the alphabet. A, B, C, D. Sounds like all of them to me.
Yeah, so maybe we'll look for a Heroic Div match coming up soon. But anyways, looking on the calendar, we'll have a Wednesday night, our normal kind of late night slot. And then on Thursday, we'll have a double header coming up as well, starting off at 8 o'clock. So be looking out for that. And then beyond that, York Esports has a match this Wednesday, 8 o'clock against Calculated Throw. Maybe that'll get picked up. Who knows? But beyond that, anything else you want to mention, Jax?
Nothing else for tonight. Just make sure to follow the channel if you're enjoying the content. We'll keep bringing the HOTS cast as long as there are games to be cast. We're having a great time enjoying ourselves, watching some good HOTS action, and we hope all of you are too.
And thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you guys in the Nexus.